Central's story began in 1893. Reverend Hager was the pastor of Rabbit Hill Baptist, and his heart began to beat for the new immigrants that were moving to Edmonton. After leading worship services, he began walking the 30 kilometers to Edmonton each Sunday afternoon to meet and help these newcomers. Our church grew out of these humble beginnings.
Central started with a clear vision and a prospect for good ministry. One man walking in prayer, sharing the good news of Jesus that he himself had experienced.
Over 120 years, thousands of lives have been transformed, and over a dozen new churches have been planted, all because this growing group of ordinary people repeatedly chose to keep walking, to keep serving, to keep inviting.
Our church was growing dramatically, but our Connors Hill facility, which has served us well since 1973, was beginning to age and break down, and it didn't have space for growth.
This was a challenging obstacle, but through the years of praying and trying new things, God planted in our hearts an exciting and bold vision: Central as a multi-site church with Connors Hill as the hub. Instead of building a bigger building or selling Connors Hill and moving somewhere else, we wanted to maintain our connection to the neighborhood while also reaching more people with the gospel in new parts of the city.
In 2017, we felt the time was right to put down our roots in the southeast part of the city by purchasing a facility to commit to long-term ministry in this community where there are so few churches.
So we prayerfully committed together to a common work for the kingdom, and we called that effort Building Together. The name comes from Ephesians 2:22, which reminds us that it is ultimately God who is building his kingdom, and we are invited to join him.
The Building Together project has two goals. First, we are aiming to completely update our Connors Hill facility for community impact and to serve as a hub for a growing number of multi-site locations.
Second, we desire to firmly establish our southeast site as a lighthouse for the gospel in an underserved part of the city.
We took the Building Together vision to the congregation in 2017, and we asked you to give sacrificially over 3 years to reach new people for Jesus. And you responded in an amazing way. We've been touched by your generosity, by your outpouring of prayer, by your encouraging comments, and by so many amazing stories.
We're thankful for the young businessmen who have been saving money above and beyond normal giving. When Building Together was introduced, he said to one of our pastors, "Now I know what God wants me to do with my money."
We're thankful for the staff member who had an idea about how much to give, but then after praying heard God say, "Give more," and decided to obey with joy.
We're thankful for the teenager who committed to give $6 a month for 3 years.
We're thankful for the senior who decided to sell off some stocks in order to invest in the legacy of our church.
We're thankful to each and every person because regardless of the size, every gift makes an impact for God's kingdom.
To date, we've received $1.79 million in cash and commitments, and we've made significant progress towards the vision we have for multi-site growth and the gospel impact, both for Connors Hill and Southeast.
As we approach the end of 2020 and consider our next steps, the Ministry Council has established a new Building Together team to highlight the potential for ministry growth, to communicate with the church, and to recommend a way forward.
As a team, we realize that this is a very unique time in our world. COVID has changed nearly everything about our daily lives, and there is a lot that is unknown for us as a church and for each of our households.
The way ahead is not perfectly clear, but God still holds the future, and he still speaks to his church. So we want to listen, and we want to invite you again into the Building Together story in 2 ways.
Please pray for the work that God is doing to build his kingdom in our city, and specifically lift up the ministry of our church family in this critical time. Second, we ask that you share what God is saying to you. This summer, our team is going to be reaching out to each of the hundreds of households that have contributed to Building Together. We want to hear your perspective and answer any questions you have.
On behalf of the Building Together team, we are so grateful for God's provision, for your generosity, and for the great purpose that God has invited us into. We believe that your gifts are enabling greater kingdom impact and changing people's lives.
Jesus invited Reverend Hager to start walking in his footsteps, and we're still walking.
We're still praying and giving attention to good prospects for ministry.
We're still longing to reach new people with the gospel. We're still following Jesus.
We're still following Jesus.
We're still following Jesus together.